versus whom, these are just regular pronouns, really. You just need to know when to use them. Who is a nominative case pronoun. So you're going to use who the same place you would use any other nominative case pronoun, like he. So you would say, who will be attending the meeting? Here, who, your pronoun, is working as the subject of the sentence. So just like he would be the subject, you're going to use who. He is who, even though that sounds weird, remember, with linking verbs, you're going to be using predicate nominative, which is still the nominative case pronoun. Whom, with an M, is just like him with an M, and him is an objective case pronoun, and so is whom. So you'll use that as the object of the preposition. This is where you see whom most often used. After the words to or for, make sure that you use whom. It's following a preposition, so you need that objective case. You'll also use it as a direct or indirect object. She gave whom the money. Gave is your action verb. She gave the money. That's your direct object. She gave the money to whom? Indirect object, objective case. He kissed whom? Here it's your direct object. Kissed is your action verb, and so your pronoun is the object of that kiss. Now, the way I sort of cheat when I think about who versus whom is to try to plug in, as long as it's not beginning a clause, he or him. If he works in the sentence, you're going to use who. If him works, you're going to use whom. So if you would say, he can ask, or I'm sorry, look. See, this is what I don't want to get this. So the way I sort of cheat, instead of trying to figure out what case the pronoun is acting as in the subject, is that I try to plug in other pronouns that I know the case for. If you can replace the pronoun with he, then you should be able to use who. If you can replace the pronoun with him, then you can choose whom. Now this is pretty easy to remember because both him and whom end in M. So let's take a look at an example. Who or whom can she ask for directions? Now when it's a regular pronoun, uninvert the question and see which pronoun works. Would you say she can ask he or she can ask him for directions? You would say him. So you would also say whom. Who or whom will know the best way to get to the mall? Well, would you say he will know the best way to get to the mall, or him will know the best way to get to the mall? You would say he, so you would say who. Real easy. Now that only works if the pronoun is not beginning a clause. When the pronoun who or whom is beginning a clause, it's not a regular pronoun. It's a relative pronoun, and that makes it a little different. So then you have a bit of a challenge. You have to technically find the clause and figure out how the pronoun is working in the clause. Then choose the correct case. Let's take a look. That's not really what I want to do. When the pronoun is working as a relative pronoun, beginning a clause, you have to handle things a little differently. It's more challenging when you're working inside of a clause. So you need to first figure out what the clause is, and then figure out how the pronoun is acting within that clause. Then you determine if you're supposed to be using the nominative or objective case pronoun. This sounds very complicated, and I never really do it this way. Let's take a look at how I cheat my way through this. If you look at the clause, there's really only two ways that you're ever going to use who. I want you to figure out if the pronoun is the subject of the clause. If it is, it has to be nominative. You have to choose who. If it's not, you have to ask yourself one more question. Is the verb of the clause a linking verb? If it is, then that pronoun is still a predicate nominative and you're still going to choose whom. Who. If it's not, no matter what, you're going to go with whom, because no matter what, it's not a predicate nominative and it's not the subject, so any other reason, it's an objective case pronoun, which is whom. So let's try it. Alex is a student who or whom got a perfect score. This is beginning a clause, so first I need to find the clause. It's going to start with the pronoun, who or whom got a perfect score. Now, when I take a look at just that clause, what's the subject of the clause? The pronoun is working as the subject. Here's the verb in the clause. Remember, in clauses, the subject is always going to come before the verb. So, since this is the subject, I know I have to use the nominative case pronoun, so I'm going to choose who. Try again. I saw Ellen, who or whom I knew from school. My clause here is who or whom I knew from school. So I want you just to deal with that clause. Find the subject and the verb. My subject is I. So I'm not going to choose who because it's not the subject. My verb is knew, and it's an action verb. So I can't choose who because it's not working with a linking verb, which means it's not a predicate nominative. So no matter how it's working, I know I need to go with whom. Here, it's actually acting as the direct object. I knew whom. So I need the objective case pronoun. And one more time. That is who or whom I saw. My clause is who or whom I saw. I is my subject. Saw is my action verb. If I have a subject and an action verb, it doesn't matter why, I'm choosing whom. Here, it happens to be the direct object again. One more. The Broadway show was successful, but it could only be seen by whoever or whomever could travel to New York. Look what I have right here. That's a preposition. So this is working as the object of that preposition. I need to choose whomever. Who or whom should I give my assignment to? I'm going to flip it. This is not working as a clause. This is just a regular everyday pronoun, not a relative pronoun. So I'm going to ask myself, should I give my assignment to he or to him? I'm going to choose him because that's what sounds right. So I'm going to choose whom as my correct pronoun. And lastly, do you know who or whom she is? This is beginning a clause, so just take a look at the clause. Who or whom she is. I do have a subject in my clause. My verb is. This is a linking verb. If I have a linking verb, I have a predicate nominative, which means I have to use the nominative case pronoun, who. We'll run through some more examples tomorrow if you need to, but I'd like you to rewind and watch these examples again. Come to class tomorrow with questions, please.